So how's your summer? Is it good? Well, here's a little psalm to address it. Recreation is my shepherd, I shall not stay at home. It maketh me to lie down in a sleeping bag. It leadeth me down the interstate each weekend. It restoreth my flip-flops. It leadeth me to state parks for comfort's sake. Even though I may stray on the Lord's day, never. I will fear no reprimand, for I am relaxed. My rod and reel, they comfort me. I anointeth my grill with delectables. My gas tank runneth dry. Surely my camper shall follow me all the weekends of summer, and I shall return to the house of the Lord this fall. But by then, it will be football season, and that's another psalm. Oh, so happy summer. And so I started to think about summer, and I started to think about, how often in the summer we'll leave home. We'll pack up and we'll just go. And it's good for us, right? It's good for us just to leave home and just go somewhere else in a new setting and get a new perspective on things, right? And relax and restore. And so when I was thinking about this, my childhood came to mind. And I remember taking vacations when I was a child. We mainly went to the beach. And many of you know that I was raised by a single mom. She was raising 2 daughters and working full-time. And so I remember this one summer that we didn't go to the beach. Instead, I think my mother just went on this. I have no idea where she went, but she deposited me in Fayetteville, North Carolina, with my cousins for 3 weeks. Yeah. And I was in elementary school. Bless her heart. She probably just was like, I need to get away. And my older sister, who was 5 years older, I think went somewhere with my aunt. But I went to Fayetteville, and boy, by about week 2, I was like singing the blues. I was really, 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 really homesick. And I remember calling Mom, and she was probably like, oi. But I just was like, Mama. Even though I was having a good time, it was just that I miss my mama. I miss this familiar. But then another memory came up for me when I ran away from home. Anybody run away from home? Yeah, I remember I think I was about the same age. I was in elementary school, and I was not happy with the punishment that my mother gave me for something. And I said, I am leaving. I am packing up. I'm running away. She helped me pack. Talk about, reverse psychology, trying to kind of dissipate them. And I think I went down the street for a while, hung out with some neighbors, and of course got homesick again. And so, I just started to reflect on this whole homesickness idea. Because as a child, I just wanted what was familiar and comfortable and nurturing. Even though I might have been mad, even though the external world wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be, I got homesick and I felt anxious. And I started to think, well, of course, what's the metaphysics of this? There's a spiritual lesson in this because, I start to think about, as adults, we have a lot of pressure on us right now. Well, always. But we look at our lives and we have a lot of responsibilities. I think about how upset I was as a child, and I really didn't have that many responsibilities other than making my bed and doing other chores, But here, as we grow up, we have a lot of demands, and we have responsibilities and expectations, and maybe we start to want things to be a little bit different. And, we strive to be happy and can't maybe sometimes find that single thing that's going to make it all feel better. And we can get depressed and lonely and desperate. I started to do some stats read about, the mental health status of who we are in the United States. And actually, worldwide, the World Health Organization said there's 300 million people around the world that have depression. And it's the second leading cause of death among people ages 15 to 24. And there are 44,000 Americans who die by suicide each year. It's the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. And it started to just, it seems like we've just kind of lost our true north, our compass back home to ourselves. And I started to reflect on New Thought teachers that might have addressed this. And I remembered Dr. Emily Cady. Remember Emily Cady, for those of you that have been in Unity for a while? If you don't know who she was, she was born in 1848 in New York, and she became one of the first female doctors in New York. She was a homeopathic physician, and she learned New Thought spiritual teachings from Emma Curtis Hopkins. And Emma Curtis Hopkins was the student of Mary Baker Eddy, who founded Christian Science. So Dr. Cady would direct her patients to look inward to find the source of their health and well-being, noticing how healing occurred as they changed their thoughts. Not necessarily cures, but healing occurred. And she began to notice that they had healing occur when they put their faith in their true nature. And so she started to write, and she started to write articles that got the attention of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founders. And so Charles and Myrtle Fillmore asked Dr. Cady to write articles for their publications. And then people resonated so much with her wisdom that she was asked to create a course in healing, which turned into Lessons in Truth. If you know, Lessons in Truth has been one of the core books in Unity. And this is what Emily Cady said about why humanity ends up being depressed and lonely, losing our way. She said, at the heart of humanity, there's a deep and awful homesickness that never has been and never can be satisfied with anything less than a clear, vivid consciousness of our indwelling divinity. She said, what we need to do is to seek the revelation of the living Christ within our own being, each for himself, knowing that only this divinity coming forth can make us powerful and happy. Yeah. And then she goes into what it takes for us to do this. And she talks about spiritual understanding, that what has us heal our homesickness is to have that revelation that the living Christ is us. And how we do that is through deepening our spiritual understanding. And that's one of the things I love about Unity. We have classes here. And so she recommends studying, doing our work, digging in, learning from other spiritual masters. And also, though, moving past our intellect. The intellect is spiritual, but it's also where we try to solve. We try to fix things, right? And what she is saying is we need to marry that energy with our heart and recognize that our true compass home is our wisdom within, the divinity within. There's a quote on your bulletin today that I love that says, home isn't where you're from, it's where you find light when all goes dark. Yeah, that inner home. Do you know when you're home? The world is a little crazy right now. That's the understatement of the week. And so I know when I'm not home, when I'm all about it, when I get upset and angry, whatever. And so this is a very simple thing. And I know I talk about it a lot, folks, but there's a psalm that says, be still and know I am. And so the compass home, the home of that living Christ that lives within us, is when we spiritually understand that we get to turn inward instead of seeking solutions out here. That our first, Jesus had some great ideas about how we navigate our homesickness and come home to ourselves. He recommended forgiveness, right? Loving your neighbor, doing good to each other. But he also said, seek first the kingdom. Seek first the inner kingdom right here. So let's seek first. Let's turn our attention inward so that we can know what is ours to do, because that's where we find our true north. Today's Daily Calm, I'm a big Daily Calm person. It's an app that I try to use every day. And today's Daily Calm said this: follow your heart and your intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. And that quote's by Steve Jobs. Follow your heart and your intuition. They somehow already know, because that's the home of your being. One of my favorite questions that, I love to ask is, what is mine to do? So in this world that feels so in an uproar right now, I think one of the greatest gifts that we can give to peace on our planet is coming home to ourselves, folks. Instead of engaging in the external in a reactive way, what is ours to do is to come home to our inner compass, our true north, and ask, what is mine to do? And to listen from our open hearts of love. Because like Jim said, we're already home. Wherever we go, I'm home. Wherever you go, you're home already. The door's always open. You are the key. So I know it's a simple message, but I think it's a powerful one right now. So this week, in the midst of the Facebook and all that's happening down on the border and all the things that are so troubling, I think the greatest gifts that we can do as good people that want to do good in the world is to find our own home first and ask, what is mine to do? Truly, from my knowing, from my wisdom, from my compassionate, loving heart. What is mine to do? And then listen and follow and know. Can we breathe together? So let's affirm, wherever I am, I'm home. And so it is.